I want to respond to the people that seem to feel that I'm trying to bring division between the Africans and the so-called Black Americans. I want to speak to those that seem to feel that I'm doing the white man's bid. Although you seem to forget that the Africans sold the ancestors of the so-called Black Americans to the white man and put the so-called Black Americans in the condition that they are in today. I'm in the process of writing a book, Living the Results of Yesterday Today. What you see among the so-called black community is a result of what happened yesterday when the Africans sold the so-called Black Americans into captivity. Now, you're quick to say that we're the same. You're quick to say that we're brothers, that because we share the same hue or skin color, that you're automatically an African, you're automatically, so everybody should pack up their bags and move to the continent and help build Africa. When Africa did nothing for the so-called Black Americans, even to this very day. But I want to deal with the ones that always talking about the white man and how Black Americans sound like the white man and how Black Americans dress like the white man. And you have some Africans, and I've dealt with them in the past, that refer to Black Americans as the white man when their ancestors, and even till this very day, is partnership with the white man against the so-called Black Americans. If it was not for the Africans partnering with the white man and selling the so-called Black Americans' ancestors to the white man into captivity, we wouldn't be in that position today. Now, am I trying to bring division? At first, I'd say no. At first, I'd say that Akon and people like Akon are the ones that bring the division. I'm a person that comment on the division that they're trying to bring, but yet no one talks about that. But the more I thought about it, the more I said to myself, I said, self, yes, I'm trying to bring division. I'm trying to bring division to separate the truth from falsehood, from those that's really down with so-called black power and those that want you to just submit and be subservient to the white man and to the so-called Africans by telling you to remain silent, by telling you to just move on, to go on with your life. Now, someone made a comment regarding the Black Americans. As a matter of fact, it was Akon. And I have a video that I'm going to play, and I'll do that video later, where Akon was saying that if you go into the projects of New York, you know, it's like a high-class hotel, to that effect. I'll play the video later. And he was comparing it with the people that live on the continent of Africa. Apparently, Akon has never been inside one of New York City's projects. You've never been in the Pink House. You've never been in Bedford-Stuyvesant, in Marcy Projects. Now, what I remember of Marcy Projects, you step on the elevator, that's a death trap. Lights are out. Somebody urinated in the elevator, smell like piss. You can have dudes waiting for you in the elevator, right? You can lose your life in the elevator. So for you have residents that need to come from their apartment to go outside, that's a death trap. So now you're comparing that with a high-class hotel. And you're saying that Africans that's poor would love to be in those apartment complexes. Now, and you're saying that you can't understand, this is what Akon was saying, He can't understand that if black Americans are going through what they're going through, why don't they just leave and just go to Africa when you don't have to deal with that? Everything will be all right. It'll be peaceful. You won't have to worry about nothing in Africa. But yet, Africans are fleeing. Like these so-called poor people in the projects, in the hood, can afford spending a few $1,000s to go to Africa. If they can afford that money to go to Africa, don't you think they would have been out of the projects? They're in the projects because they're poor, because they can't afford to live anywhere else better than that. So I don't see you offering these people, these poor people that you suggest that should move to Africa, I don't see you trying to fund their move and support them once they get there to get them started. I don't see you doing that. See, I'm a product of the projects. See, so I know what it's like to live in the projects. But just because you're in the project don't mean you need to stay there. Once you grow up, you stay in school, get your education, not to lecture you, but get your education, and then you can hopefully one day come out of the projects. But you have a lot of people that don't have that type of drive or motivation or even encouragement. Or you have a lot of young men and young ladies that's not making it out the projects because their lives are snuffed away from them. So you're telling people that's living in the ghetto, all they need to do is go to Africa, spend $2,000 or $3,000 to go to Africa, and everything will be all right. When they don't have a pot to piss in, nor a window to throw it out of. So make sense of that. But I want to read a scripture to you. Take it from the book of Matthew, and I'm not here to preach. The 10th chapter, reading the 35th to the 37th verse. For I am come to set man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes, his enemies, shall be they of his own household. He that loveth the father or mother more than me, talking about Christ, is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So, like Christ, I am here to bring division between truth and falsehood. So, answer me this question. Riddle me this. Africans, why are you so fixated on calling black Americans the white man, saying that we sound like the white man, doing the white man's bid? That's what the white man wants you to do when your ancestors, your parents, your foreparents, sold the so-called black Americans into captivity to the white man. You're working in partnerships with the white man. So how are you talking about the white man? When you even bragged about the white man allowing you to come to this country. The same white man that you acclaim to put down allowed you into this country. And I've had Africans on YouTube that bragged about the white man allowed me in. You didn't let me in, the white man did. So you giving praise to the white man while telling us how much power we don't have. But yet you're going to tell us that we're doing the work or the bid of the white man when your ancestors sold the so-called black Americans to the white man into captivity. I want you guys to look up Negroland. Look up Negroland. And look at where the slave coast is. That's actually the slave coast. See, and if you do a history on Negroland, you would see that we're not the same. Those people that your ancestors sold into captivity were a special people, were talented, were gifted. So for an African to say the reason why the black Americans are so talented and gifted is because they're African, You had nothing to do with that. As a matter of fact, you guys had issues. Your ancestors had issues with those in Negroland, and of course, black Americans were referred to as Negroes. Just look at history. See, you read it in books. I lived history. What I lived, you read about. So I lived at a time when the so-called black Americans were referred to as Negroes. So Negroland, your ancestors did not like the Negroes because the Negroes were productive. So your ancestors sold the Negroes into the captivity to the white man. So I don't want to hear anything you have to say about the white man, and you putting the white man down and you making it appear, or trying to make it appear, that you're all against the white man and you're for blackness and African unity and all this other nonsense and come to Africa, when you're working hand in hand with the white man against the so-called black Americans. And let's not forget, a lot of y'all parents have told you in time past not to mix and mingle with the so-called black Americans. Your parents told you that the black Americans were killed. You listened to what the media told you. And now you're going to tell us that we shouldn't listen to what the media tells us about you and go to Africa and see for ourselves? Well, you need to take that same advice. See, you judge us and tell us that we shouldn't judge you, but at the same time you judge us, right? So help me to figure out how you can call black Americans the white man and talk about the white man, but yet your ancestors, and even to this very day, work hand in hand with the white man against the so-called black Americans. So feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time. And if you like this shirt that I'm wearing, go to the link, Fearless Online, Fearless Wear Online, and you can get you one. This is a shirt right here. I'll just partially stand up a little bit. This shirt right here, Fearless. That's me. So if you want one of these shirts, go to Fearless Wear and get you one. Till next time, I'm Fearless.